Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. I think this is, again, The Power of Awareness is an amazing book. The chapter 13, Acceptance, I think has one of the biggest keys, and it really just highlights the biggest key to manifesting. And it's funny is when I did a lot of my spiritual journey, a lot of my learning in the past, the one thing that really came out to me was the language of the soul is feelings. Anything that really happens from a soul level, from kind of a deeper level, or from a picking up from other people level, it's a feelings kind of thing. You feel other people. You feel what's going on around you. You feel there's a disturbance in the force. You feel that there's a wolf about to attack you. You hear growling, and now you're like, oh, and the hair stands up in the back of your neck. You feel something. Feelings are what matter. So Neville Goddard gets into it, and frankly, the key, the secret, I'll give it away now. You can stop watching the rest of my video, is feel. Feel as though the wish is fulfilled. Now, I'm going to read from chapter 13. I'm going to give an analogy at some point. Might ruin some of this for you. But this is very powerful, and it's really the secret. It really is what does the manifesting. It's what matters. It's what I think a lot of us, I don't want to say fail. I think it's where a lot of us come short of what we're trying to do. We're doing all these techniques. These techniques are beautiful, and they're meant to get you thinking about something. And you think about something with such an intensity. This is what Goddard's talking about, right? You think about something with such an intensity that it takes on this level of realness. And from that level of realness comes a feeling like it's actually happening, like what you would feel when this does happen. You imagine it to that level of reality, and you begin to feel how it would feel. And it's that feeling that creates. It is that feeling that pushes out of ourselves. What we see happening is a reflection, right? But the push, the actual manifestation push, I like them saying it funny intentionally, is through that feeling. That is where the subconscious runs wild and makes all sorts of cool stuff happen. So if there is one way to get through the whole manifestation mumbo jumbo, is to get yourself to that place where you can feel something. Is that a visual board, right? You've got one of those, you script your top 10 things. You've got a vision board. There goes the word I couldn't remember, right? We've got living in the end, having affirmations. All of these things are meant to do one thing, get you to feel something. That's what they want to do. A lot of us just say, I am good, I am great. You don't really stop and really appreciate what saying that means. I am good, I am great. And if you actually think about it and even start to say, I am good, I am great, and you say it for a while, I'll start getting goosebumps because I start to realize how profound that really is. What I'm stating, how powerful that is. And I begin to feel it. And it's that feeling that creates it. Doesn't matter what technique you're using, you're trying to get yourself to the place where you're feeling as though the wish fulfilled has happened. Gratitude is something a lot of people say and is similar. And it's basically the same thing. I'm grateful because this has happened. That is a similar feeling to how the feeling of the wish fulfilled would be, and certainly is an accompanying feeling. But I just want to say that's the whole point of all this. So there you go. There's the short video for those of you that hate my longer ones. Now we're going to get into Goddard and talk about it. Acceptance is pretty awesome. Man's perceptions are not bounded by organs of perception. He perceives more than sense, though ever so acute, can discover. All right? Man is aware of more than what's going on. Sometimes you get that gut feeling. Your senses aren't picking that up. Sixth sense, sure, but your normal senses aren't picking that up. Your five senses, you're not tasting something and then being, oh no, there's a danger and I'm feeling it in my stomach, right? That's a totally different thing because that's probably, you just licked off the table and there's a lot of germs on that and now, yeah, your tummy's not happy. So, Goddard continues, however much you seem to be living in material world, you are actually living in a world of imagination. The outer, physical events of life are the fruit of forgotten blossom times, results of previous and usually forgotten states of consciousness. They are the ends running true to oft-times forgotten imaginative origins. Whenever you become completely absorbed in an emotional state, you are at that moment assuming the feeling of the state fulfilled. If persisted in whatsoever you are intensely emotional about, you will experience in your world these periods of absorption, of concentrated attention. they're the beginnings of the things we harvest. It is, as he says, when you feel that emotion about it. The one thing where a lot of us make mistakes, first off, is A, not feeling emotion when we're going through the motions. I am good, I am great, I am a robot, right? No emotion, emotionless, that's a problem. The other side of it is when we have mind chatter that creates emotional responses. When we do things like watch the news, which creates emotional responses. Really, any time an emotional response comes from us, we're now sending a creative force out into the universe. Whatever it is that you're having an emotional response about, you're now creating. Could be watching the news, could be watching someone run across the street and running to her daddy, and it's like, oh my God, it just gives you that emotional response. Well, guess what? You're sending that part out there too. It's good and bad, but it's that chatter that creates emotion that's sometimes negative, that does harm to us. We don't realize it. We think it's harmless. We're like, I don't mean it. I don't mean it. But you had an emotional response. Universe doesn't care. Whatever, I call it universe. I don't know what it is that does the thing. It says it's your subconscious. So Goddard says your subconscious runs rampant once you have a feeling about something. And there you go. Doesn't care. Doesn't care at all. If you're joking, I was just joking, even though I just emotionally got invested in that joke, which is not a joke, right? So again, we continue. It is in such moments that you are exercising your creative power, the only creative power there is. At the end of these periods or moments of absorption, you speed from these imaginative states where you have not been physically to where you were physically an instant ago. Meaning we go to the place that's fake, that we're imagining. It's not fake, but we're imagining it. And then we come back to where we are right now, where it's not here. I know it's not here, but you were just there a second ago. Very real. In these periods, the imagined state is so real that when you return to the objective world, to our now, when you return to the objective world and find that it is not the same as the imagined state, it is an actual shock. You have seen something in the imagination with such vividness that you now wonder whether the evidence of your senses can now be believed. And the likes, like Keats, you ask, was it a vision or a waking dream? Fled is that music. Do I wake or sleep? This shock reverses your time sense. By this is meant that instead of your experience resulting from your past, it now becomes the result of your being in imagination where you have not yet physically been. In effect, this moves you across a bridge of incident to the physical realization of your imagined state. Now, I've talked about this same concept before. When we get to the imagined state, when we imagine something happening, we're outside of time completely. We're not imagining it in the future. We're not imagining it in the past. We shouldn't be anyways. We're imagining it as it's right now. Imagining now like you're before me right now. I'm not imagining you in the future because that's going to manifest something different. I am imagining you right now. Space and time is irrelevant. You're on the moon, and I am where I live in Southern California, and I am imagining you, and right now, you and I are together real time in my imagination, and it feels amazing. That is the creative force. And when you do that, and then you hop back, and you're like, oh my God, we're not actually together. Like that dream was so vivid. That reality I was just enjoying for a moment was so vivid, so crisp, so delicious, that now it feels weird to not be there. Goddard continues, the man who at will can assume whatever state he pleases has found the keys to the kingdom of heaven. The keys are desire, imagination, and a steadily focused attention on the feeling of the wish fulfilled. To such a man, any undesirable object fact is no longer a reality, and the ardent wish no longer a dream. What it means is simply anyone that can actually choose to get themselves to that place where they can feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled is basically a master. That is essentially what mastery is. I know how to create. And in order to create, I realize I just need to imagine this thing to the extent that it is so real inside my imagination that I can feel it. I can feel this experience of the wish fulfilled. Once I realize that, because of course that creates instantly almost, right? Once I realize that and become, quote, a master, I now realize that any sort of negative thing that's happening in my life is very easy to fix by focusing on what I would like to experience. And thusly, also, any dreams that I have about stuff I want are happening because I know how to create them. The windows of heaven may not be opened and the treasures seized by a strong will, but they open of themselves and present their treasures as a free gift, a gift that comes when absorption reaches such a degree that it results in a feeling of complete acceptance. It's that acceptance that really kind of solidifies it. One, I've believed it, right? I've seen it, created this imagery, and I'm feeling this thing that feels so good, feels so real. And I accept that as reality. Like, it's not a doubt anymore. Yes, when I hop back to myself and go, oh, no, they're not actually here, I don't go, pretend. No, I get it. But I realize that this scene that I was just experiencing is my tomorrow or is my day after tomorrow. It's my reality to come. I know it. I accept it. I don't fight it. I don't question it. It doesn't pop into my head and be like, well, you sure? No, it doesn't, because I realize how things happen. I realize how we create. I realize how creation occurs. And so I don't fight it. It is what it is. Someone hands you the rules of how to play Monopoly, right? You go around one direction, you can roll the dice, you can go so far, free parking over here, you hit this spot, you're kind of bummed, right? You land on someone's thing and they got a hotel, you better hope you got cash. There's rules. It's just how you play it. You don't then hop on and go, all right, I'm going to go backwards, and you're like, whoa, wait. I mean, maybe if you're playing with a child, but normally you're like, whoa, that's not fair that you get to hit boardwalk first. That's not fair. Like, those are the best properties. No, you got to get all the way around. That's not fair, right? So, again, it's just knowing the game of life and how to play it, to borrow other author, I think Scoville Shin, right? The passage from your present state to the feeling of your wish fulfilled is not across a gap. There is a continuity between the so-called real and the unreal. To cross from one state to the other, you simply extend your feelers. Trust your touch and enter fully into the spirit of what you are doing. Sink yourself into it. Understand this is how it works. Understand I'm doing this not because this is going to bring, not because this should bring about, not because this might bring about. This is how creation happens. You can practice at small scale, and then you'll get bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually you'll be like, dude, so many things I do are direct, like I can totally remember what I did to cause it. And then oftentimes stuff happens that we do subconsciously that maybe we weren't involved with. I think there's still the other thing where sometimes we're there to help others. I don't know. I think there's a percentage of time, that's very small, that at least compared to the whole, right, that sometimes is a little hard to throw into this exact mix. But I would say 90%, 85%, totally, without a doubt. And then the other stuff, like I said, I think we're more subconscious. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying I think we're more subconscious. We don't necessarily know we did it. We didn't catch ourselves doing it. We don't necessarily know that we've got this belief that keeps holding us back. But this stuff works. There's not a lot of question to it. So as it says right here, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. Assume the spirit, the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and you will have opened the windows to receive the blessing. To assume a state is to get into the spirit of it. Your triumphs will be surprises only to those who did not know your hidden passage from the state of longing to the assumption of the wish fulfilled. The Lord of hosts will not respond to your wish until you have assumed the feeling of already being what you want to be. For acceptance is the channel of his action. Acceptance is the Lord of hosts in action. And the key right here is, Lord of hosts will not respond to your wish until you have assumed the feeling of already being that which you want to be. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is being what it is that you want to have without being it yet. A lot of people say, well, how can I be wealthy if I don't know what it's like to be wealthy? You imagine it. What are the things that wealthy people do? You imagine it. I had someone ask me the other day, and I'm just because I thought it was kind of a different question. How can I make myself taller? All right, if you're going to try to use law of attraction for that, imagine what it's like to see from a higher altitude, from a higher place. I said, you can borrow a step ladder, you can buy some shoes with heels on them, give you a perspective change, right? Kind of helps you understand, hey, this is what it'll look like if I'm taller. It's that same concept. If you don't know what something is, you imagine it. And by imagining it, it helps create it. It helps get your mind in that place. It helps create that energy that we've talked about where you need to be the thing that you want to manifest. You're trying to manifest love, okay? Be the love. Be the relationship. Be there with them. Trying to manifest money? What is money to you? What's it look like when you drive into your garage? What does your house look like as you're pulling up next to it? When you get out of your garage, open up your Mercedes or whatever you're driving, right? Your Ferrari, whatever, and you close the door. Or maybe it's one of those, the suicide doors or whatever, right? Or actually, that's not suicide, but out the other direction, whatever. Right? Imagine however your car is. And then you walk out of your car and you walk in through the house, the entrance. What's the first room you see? Probably a laundry room, maybe, right? Or usual, common. Maybe there's a separate, like maybe your house is huge and you have wings. Maybe that's in the laundry wing. I don't know. But imagine what it's like to walk into your house. That's wealth. That's what wealthy people experience. Not, I want $1,000. Well, what's $1,000 feel like? I don't know. $1,000 feels like if you're sitting on it, it's going to hurt your butt. You're going to I'm sitting funny and now my back hurts, my neck's funny. Yeah, so $1,000 isn't necessarily good, but what does it buy? What does it create? What do you have now that you've got that $1,000? Imagine that. That's the creative aspect that so many of us forget. Trying to manifest a new car. What's that like? What's that feel like? You're driving, it's exciting, you punch it and it kicks you back. That smell of the leather, and the smile on your face, maybe you even put gloves on when you drive it because the car deserves to not be touched by your dirty skin. Who knows how that feels until you get yourself into that place when you're imagining that place. That is manifesting. The analogy I wanted to share. I feel kind of like manifestation is like standing in front of a locked door, right? The door is your manifestation. Whatever it is, it's like you're going to go into it, right? The door opens, it's got a hinge, right? But apparently there's a lock, you can tell, right? There's no windows any other way. No other way to get through, right? We're just trying to make a simple analogy. And the key to manifestation, no pun intended, is literally a key that you're holding in your hand. Now, in order for this key to work, it's basically feeling. The key is the feeling. You put the feeling into the manifestation while everything opens up. Boom, on I go. But if I refuse to use the feeling, then it's like trying to open a locked door while I'm holding a key, but trying to open it anyway. It's a waste of time, sure. Probably not ever going to happen. Pretty strong chance. Someone may hear noise and maybe eventually open it. Who knows? Might be get a peek in there, be like, yeah, you don't live here. Damn it, you finally opened it. Yeah, but what about the key in your hand? Oh, that's right. Maybe if I feel my way into this. So to me, that makes a big difference. Now, I think the big question that a lot of people ask, I hear it a lot, since I need to be able to feel in order to use the key of feeling, right? It's really a bad analogy, but whatever, it kind of works for me. I still think that opening a manifestation with the key of feeling, that's pretty lame. So, if you can't feel real well, one of the things that can happen, if you literally can't feel at all, then, well, you could potentially be a narcissist. Just saying. Could be. I don't know. There's lower chakras. I would say chakras, search, look online. It's your lower ones, your first, second, and third chakra. You want to get those things kind of in line. There's a balance. You've got a misbalance. You've got an out of balance. Might be some past experience. Maybe you need to see a shrink. Any number of things could be at work that are prohibiting you from being able to feel in general. Well, one thought also, you can get a puppy. I'll tell you what, it's really hard to have a puppy lick your face, especially when no one's looking, because some people are kind of weird about that. But he's licking your face, and that puppy just loves you. He's wagging his tail, and he's just licking your face, and he's so happy that you're around and there to play with him. And yeah, it's really hard not to feel love and feel something amazing when that happens. So if you're having a hard time, there's definitely ways to do it. Keep at it. And conversely, if your kind of feelings seem to be losing it, you're not feeling as strong about this particular manifestation, get back into it. Change the scene a little bit. Maybe you've been using a stale scene. You've been using the same scene over and over. Maybe you really haven't built the scene out. Maybe it's kind of an awkward scene that maybe doesn't fit. right? Maybe that's just not a place that you're going to likely end up with them because they may not like it. Whatever. I don't know. I'm just saying, try another scene. Try a different scene, another place that maybe you guys would like, another restaurant that would be fun to eat at, or maybe another beach that you can stand on the pier and overlook as the sun sets. Like, what is the thing that you would like to experience? There's probably some more story that you can add to that. And when you do that, a lot of the times that can start to re-spark some of that feeling that maybe has gone stale because, like a relationship that doesn't keep trying to maybe keep things fresh or keep trying to keep romance and passion alive, maybe it starts to go a little stale and flat, right? So maybe sometimes you got to enhance that imaginal exercise, enhance the experience that you're living in the end from, if you will, and really get yourself feeling as though this is actually happening. Maybe have a third and a fourth and a fifth different scene. I'm not saying the in-betweens. I'm not saying, well, they text message me and then we're going to go to this restaurant and then they'll call me exactly 2 hours later. No. But you can imagine having dinner with them in multiple places. You can imagine being at romantic scenes at different times. You're not doing the middle ground. You're covering a lot of cool, wonderful experiences that you're building with this individual in the case of relationships. Hopefully this makes a huge difference when we finally realize the power of feelings and the ability to feel and how that actually works and how that's how our souls talk to each other and just everything that seems to revolve around feelings. When we finally get that and understand that, your wings are finally unfurled and you are an amazing force to be reckoned with. Dan, Radio Style.